typical CMS has been long established and takes advantage of tried and tested techniques like manual loading, globals and functions, so many functions, no messy classes get in the way, and guaranteed no breaking changes ever. I mean, your plugin that you wrote in 2003 will still work on a typical CMS. Wonderful. The database structure is great for a typical CMS. We have a table for things. It stores all the things. We have things about the thing. We've got business logic, things to things relationship. Great. So you don't need to worry about making a special table for every single object. So why do you want to do that? Just stick it on things. And we've got access via PSQL, pretend SQL, or NetSQL. If you want to use real SQL, you can do that, but you have to have smoked all of the drugs in order for it to make any sense whatsoever, because you'll be joining thing via things using thing. The database is also very useful for business logic, which means you don't have to worry about Git or reviewing or anything. Just stick all your logic in the database, it'll all just work grand. This is brilliant for people who can't program. And in all seriousness, there is a market for that, and it's great that people can go and they can throw up a site using something like WordPress and it all just works. But for me as a developer, it kind of feels like that. It's not quite right. You know, this should be a guitar, it worked out the guitar, but no, it's a slug. So I see some of this stuff and I think, I don't know, I think we've seen this before. Thankfully, there's a whole plethora of new CMSs recently in PHP, and I'm going to talk about exactly one of them, and that one is October. October is based on Laravel. The thing about most CMSs is that they do realistically have a framework, but it's a framework you would not use in 1,000 years if it wasn't for the fact that there's a CMS on the other side of it. This uses Laravel, which means you get all the Laravel goodness that we've heard about for the last 40 minutes. New version out last month. All the cool stuff, classes, queues, interfaces, all available to you, all built in, Composer, all that good stuff. And we have a database structure that you as a developer are actually in control of. You have Eloquent. We've seen Eloquent recently. It's very eloquent. Tables actually make sense. And you can use Eloquent to make your queries happen, or you can write raw SQL, and the raw SQL you write won't be mad. And what you're doing will bear some relationship to the actual tables in the actual database, which, you know, is nice. Sensitive functionality controlled by YAML files everywhere, which means that a developer can change something. It can be reviewed. You can have a pull request. Simple things that make development in an organization work properly. And they control everything. I really like YAML. Actually, the YAML file is so straightforward. It's the sort of thing you could write by accident. You could accidentally write the YAML file last night, not realize. You probably did. Some of you look like you did. So straight on to the demo. So this is where it's all going to go slightly wrong. So if we have a look at the front end of the site, that's the back end of the site. If you look away for a second, that's the front end of the site as installed. I just want to show you this because it shows quite straightforwardly the basic concepts. And there's new messages available for my computer, which we'll ignore for now. So we have sort of layouts, and you can write as many layouts as you want. They can be applied to each individual page. So the outer, I'm sorry if this is a bit small, so the outer edges of the thing. So you've got your layouts and then your pages in the middle. Pages hold the content for each URL. So the page describes whenever I visit /news, we're going to have what's on /news. Inside each page there'll be a partial or a component if you're using a plugin. So you can put your stuff above and below that. Pop a wee thing in here, and then the plugin that you're writing will take over from there. Content blocks and placeholders and all that good stuff. But the great thing about all that stuff is that it's all files based, it's all dead simple, and it all makes sense. So I need to have a look at my tablet because I've sort of lost my place. Bear with me a second. Yes, I want to really have a look at the back end of the site. So this is what you get whenever you log into the back end. And you can put widgets and so on in this dashboard. It's quite a nice plugin for Google Analytics. So customers like pretty charts, and they can get them dead simply. But if we have a look at this news plugin which I made earlier, and it took literally moments, it took actual time. So we have our search tool, and it saves a search between sessions, which is exciting. So if we have a look at how this is described in the back end, we'll have a look at the PHP for it, if I can find it, which I'm sure I can. So we've got, this is our plugin structure here, so we've got news test, plugin.php, so it describes everything that gets registered and so on. But if we have a look at our model, our news article model is, sorry, I was minimize that. This is a typical Laravel Elkin model, and the way it goes, and then got table name and so on. And one of the nice things about Laravel, which we get in this, is we have actual, we're updating the table and creating what we call migration. So again, even changes to the data structure, this can be pull requested and so on, and we've got a nice YAML file here, because it's the very first version of it. I mean, look at that. You already know how it works. And that is your news table created. As soon as that runs, it goes through all these, so it could be 1.0.2, and you might have to modify it and so on and so forth. Great. If we have a look at our columns and fields, so columns describes, this could be a bit small and smaller, columns describes what you see in this listing page. So if I wanted to get rid of that, create that site, I'm sorry, it's a very small demo, it's just a fraction of what we can do with this site. Boom, done, create that is gone. And give it a second to create that is gone. The search tool there, dead simple as well. See this summary, it's searchable, but it's actually invisible, so you can search for something in that field even though it's not there. And realistically, your back end becomes dead simple to work with. Components as well. I mean, the thing with this relative to other CMSs is that I'm pretty sure we're understanding every line that we've seen so far. It's all YAML, of course, you understand it. But if we go into the components and insert news articles, this is really a component that describes our news list. And we've got on run, single line to get all our news items, and a nice description there, so whenever you're actually plugging this in the back end, you can see what's going on easily. And a nice twig file, which again makes sense. So it just grabs any public variables, gets it, goes through it, boom, lovely. Simple stuff. Dead simple. And if we have a look at the CMS part, if I can find this, and yes, we've got our partials and our components. So you can see here components for each plugin. You can completely customize the look of this. You can change this, and it's all simple. The thing about this is that as a CMS, it fundamentally makes sense. It's and you're in complete control as a developer, because this is designed for developers to use. It's not designed necessarily for someone just to stick it up on shared hosting and hope for the best. So you really should have a look at it. I'm putting a super quick talk. I would love to come back at some stage and give a longer talk, but you didn't hear me say that, Tim. But I wouldn't say go get it right now, because at the end of the month there'll be the release candidates, which will be probably based on Laravel 5. So don't get it yet. Oh, there's some stuff I don't have enough time to really look through. We have PHP artisan extensions, so same sort of things as we've seen earlier on. We have, it's very simple to create a plugin, a model of control, and this creates a sort of a blank model of all of your templates, your YAML files, and your PHP, and then you can just work away, make the changes, do. Didn't get a chance to do the Ajax framework. It's great. So it's not available yet, but it will be available soon. Well, the beta version will be available soon. Oh, sorry, the release candidate will be available soon. Sorry, the beta is available now, which is based on 4.2. But at the end of the month, 5 will be available. So if you want to know more about it, you can visit octobercms.com. You can visit that, unfortunately, named Vimeo page. You can tweet me up on the Twitter too. And if you want to say something positive about this talk, make sure it's public. If you want to say something negative about the talk, DM me. And that is me. Thank you very much.